Hi everybody, my name is Nathan. If you haven't met me before, I'm one of the volunteers here with the Mendip Hills ANOB. I'm a tree surgeon and an ecologist and a fungi enthusiast, and today I'm going to go for a walk through Smitham Wood. We haven't got a better specimen, but we've got one that's been well eaten by slugs, which shows, once I tell you what this guy is, shows that they're not all bad, these mushrooms. So this is almost definitely death cap. So this is the base of its stem or stipe here. Coming out of this was the sac, the egg that fungus came out of. So, oh, and here's the slug that's probably been eating it.
There he is.
So
he's not dead.
He's not dead. He can definitely eat these, and actually slugs really love all the Amanita species. So some of the most toxic of the species are in this, and this is probably the most toxic of all the death cap. So in this wood up here in Smitham, there are also Amanita muscaria, which is the traditional fairy ones, the red and white spotted ones, and I found other species in here as well. So you can see that Oscar and I are handling this, even though it is death cap, and there isn't any of the fungus that will cause you harm through your skin. It's only through ingesting fungus that you will get ill from them. And the thing that I would say about to people who want to forage for mushrooms is that all mushrooms are edible, but some of them only once. And if you are not sure, even if it doesn't kill you, some of them can make you really ill.
And this mushroom contains alpha amatoxin, which causes liver failure, and a lot of people think that toxins are got rid of by cooking, but this toxin is resistant to heat, and so people have cooked these mushrooms and eaten them, and probably there is enough in this one cap to kill a human. Don't eat the mushroom.
Just see the edges of the coloration left on there, but you can see the slugs really love mushrooms, and this is a really interesting relationship actually, and one that I'm quite interested in is the relationship between gastropods and fungi, because the gastropods were some of the earliest life forms to come out of the seas and start using the new resources of our land-based plants, and the fungi came out of the seas with the very earliest of plants. So the relationship between these two life forms is ancient, and there must be a relationship that's of benefit as well as of negative impact, because some mushrooms seem to actively attract gastropods. They seem to want the slugs to come and eat them as much as possible. They make themselves as appetizing as possible to slugs, and then other species, they don't. They make themselves as toxic as possible to slugs. So there must be benefits to the relationship as well, and in fact some species of mushroom fluoresce under UV, so they glow in the dark under UV light, and that is probably, I think, to be able to be seen by the gastropods at night, so they can be seen to do
Like a beacon.
Yes.
Come and eat here.
So this is again Trametes versicolor, turkey fantail. It's a very different colour from the one that we saw earlier. This was all brown and golden, so it's very nice, and it's growing on a piece of hazel, yeah, again, this is the sort of thing that you can use that people make it into a tincture. It's supposed to be very helpful for you. We've got candle snuff as well down on there. Another nice candle snuff. There. But the activity of this Trametes is the reason why this bit of wood is now down here and not up there anymore. So it was once upon a time attached to this bit here, and what this fungus does is it breaks down the strength of the tree. So it's feeding on, I'm trying to remember whether it's the lignine, I think it is the lignine in it, it's a white rotter, and so it breaks down the strength of the wood and then eventually it breaks and falls down to the ground, and then when it's on the ground, a different group of rotters will start taking over and breaking down the other material. So yeah, it's a very complex relationship. The things that work up in the canopy are different from the things that work once the wood is dead, which is different from the things that work when the wood is down on the ground. So all the stages need to be in the woodland for it to be a healthy woodland. So removing all the dead wood or dead standing is not healthy for the wood, because it needs to be here for the different things to be breaking it down effectively. One of the rotters here, and actually another member of the Trametes family. So we've seen Trametes versicolor. This one's Trametes gibosa, I think it is, the lumpy bracket.
So this is related to the turkey fantail.
Yeah, but it's quite a different thing. It's much thicker and fleshier and lumpier. It might actually be the bitter bracket, looking at it, which it's called the bitter bracket because it is insanely bitter when you taste it, because taste test is another way of identifying your mushrooms. I'm not going to taste it because I don't want it to be really bitter. Thank you very much.
What have we got?
So it's another species of puffball. So this one's most definitely on its way out. And citrinum, Gastrum citrinum, I think it is, but they're lemon puffball.
And on the top there, is that sort of spores that have...
Yeah, so that's
the spores that got a bit wet.
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we've got another of the wood rotters. This is a winter species, so this is one showing us that it is definitely, the winter is fast approaching. So growing on this bit of gorse, dead gorse. This is Tremella mesenterica, also known as witch's butter. And it's, if I remember correctly, this is parasitic on another type of fungus. So there's another type of fungus in there breaking down the wood, and then this is actually attacking that fungus. But it's a nice jelly. It was one of the jelly fungi, and it's oozy.
We've had a question, Nathan, from someone on Facebook. Do mushrooms get old? Do they age?
I don't know, is the honest answer. I don't think any of us really know how long a fungus lives for. But there are studies that have shown that there's a particular honey fungus in one of the woods in North America that they've mapped to show how big it was, and so to give an idea of how old it is. So a fungus grows from the first point where the spores start to reproduce and use the nutrients in that area, and then slowly work out, and that's where you get the rings of fungus, because it's that growing edge. As the mycelium grows outwards, that active bit is around the edge of the growth, and it grows out and grows out and grows out, and then the ring grows out and grows out and grows out. And there is a honey fungus ring in North America that covers 3.5 square miles.
From one fungus originally?
Yes. So it is still one fungus.
So from one spore originally?
Yeah, so it's grown from that one starting point.
So that could be thousands of years?
Potentially, it could be thousands of years old, but because it's always renewing, those mycelia are tiny, so they break down and they're replaced by new ones. So we're at the heart of this woodland really now, and behind me is Smitham Chimney, a piece of Mendip history. So this area of the Mendips has been inhabited and used by humans for over 6,000 years. There's records here for over 6,000 years of continuous use, and one of the main reasons that they came to the Mendips was for lead, and this is one of our pieces of industrial heritage, the old chimney from a lead processing site, and the Mendips is littered with lead processing sites, and so we've got lots of heavy metals out and about there. So some places don't eat the mushrooms from those sites because it will have all of the heavy metals and stuff in it to go back to mushrooms. But that is my thing. We've got a little one of the coral fungus. So this one's yellow staghorn. So it's a little bit nibbled and a little bit battered because we've actually coming out of the season for these, and we've had a frost recently, so this will have knocked a lot of these back, which were there were quite a lot of them in the wood not that long ago, but this is the first one that we've seen so far. But this is yellow staghorn again. I'm not sure whether this is a rotter or a mycorrhizal actually, but it's found exclusively with conifer stumps, so pine stumps, so I think it is actually a rotter.
And we are here in a big patch of conifer stumps.
We haven't found any.
We've obviously come to the right place.
A little bit here. So as you can see, there was quite a lot of it.
Yeah, so it
Below
goes quite
ground.
deep.
So this is the bit that from here was above ground. All the rest of this was down below ground. So this is the bit that's attaching down in the stump.
And
all down. And these actually make really lovely spore prints. This is something that I haven't talked about yet. So they're spores that are dropped by the fungi. They can be, if you kind of know which of the species is, you can kind of identify what colour your spores are going to be. These actually have really lovely golden spores, and you can put it on a black piece of paper, put a cover over it, a cup over it to stop the draft, and then the spores will drop off, and you take it off after 24 hours and it'll have left a little pattern imprint of the spore pattern. You can do that with most fungi. I mean, you have to get them at a time where they've still got spores in them, so once they've gone a bit old and manky, they're not very good for spore prints. But yes, you can get yourself spore prints and make yourself some beautiful art out of your fungi as well. It's amazing.